It's scary to be so vulnerable and say, hey, I can't do this alone anymore. But it's also really exciting because the idea of being able to partner with you guys and share more frequent updates. I'm scared, but I'm excited. Y'all, I got a good story. You want a good story time? Sit down, get yourself a little cup of tea because this is a juicy story time. Let's talk about what has happened in the last few months because the fact that I'm still in Korea is literally a miracle. That's all I gotta say. It's an absolute miracle. Hi, hello, yes, I am alive. And some of you might be saying, Megan, you're a content creator, but where's the content? Where's the content at? And you guys, if it's not one thing, it's another. But what I am learning in this season, and I'll explain all that's happened because I almost had to leave Korea, not by choice. I've realized through the chaos of all that has unfolded in the last 2 months that I cannot do this on my own anymore. And I feel so incredibly called and like I am supposed to be in Korea. And in this video, I'm gonna explain, you might not see content online on my YouTube channel, but there's actually a lot I'm doing behind the scenes. But I realized that in order for me to stay, in order for me to really be able to live in this country and to love the people who just find my YouTube channel, who live all over the world, I need help. But I'll get more into that in the end. But for now, let's talk about what has happened in the last few months because the fact that I'm still in Korea is literally a miracle. I'm on an E6 entertainment visa, which basically is kind of like my workings in Korea are all done with a camera. So if I wanted to be in a K-drama, if I wanted to be on another YouTube channel, if I wanted to be in a podcast, things related to technology, my face is on a camera, I can do that. I can't do anything else. I can't teach. I can't get a part-time job at a cafe. I have to be doing only work with a camera. And so in order to get this visa, you have to have an agency that sponsors you. And if you have watched the other parts of this My Korea Story video, you will know that I got my entertainment visa in an incredible way. Baseball. And you can go back and watch if you have no idea what I'm talking about. It's a great story. But I got this entertainment visa, and these entertainment visas, you have to get them renewed every year. This past summer, that was supposed to be my 2-year mark, so I had to renew again with my agency. And in order to renew, it's not that hard. Your agency just has to give you a few pieces of paper. You have to go to immigration. A few weeks before the summer, I started messaging my agency saying like, hey, you know, that time of year, renewal, it's coming up. Just throwing that out there. And they're like, yeah, we'll get the paperwork. Like we had already done this the year before. No problem. But something that happens in Korea is like you often just don't understand fully what's going on. You kind of are just at the mercy of other people, especially when it comes to a lot of like really in-depth documents. Like when you try to get an apartment here, when you're trying to sign a contract, you can understand as much as you can, but sometimes you just end up in certain circumstances where you're like, wait, what's going on? Where am I? Who is this person? I don't understand what's happening. So I ended up, my agency said that I needed to meet this woman. And I'm like, sure, again, we just go with the flow. I show up to meet this woman. Again, I still don't fully understand what happened, but it's kind of like they're gonna get taken over or merge with this other agency. And basically the lady wanted to meet me because I've been with this other agency. I just show up to the meeting like, I spend hours on this like documentation of showing all the videos that I've been in and showing my YouTube channel and showing my history. And she's kind of looking at me like, so you do a lot of YouTube things, not really a lot of like film acting industry things. And I'm like, yes. In my head, I'm going, but it still makes money. What does it matter what kind of job I get if I still am making money? For how many people are trying to live in this country on this E6 visa, the fact that I get jobs regularly, like that's impressive. So in my head, I'm going like, not a big deal, right? She seems like, meh, fine. But they're like, okay, so we'll move forward with the paperwork. So I have to prepare my own set of paperwork, but most of the agency does it for you. But I have to prepare a few of my like housing contracts, things like this. I prepare all that I can prepare. And my expiration date of my visa, we're coming up. It's coming up. It's coming up. And I'm texting my agency like, hey, how you doing? I still need the paperwork. My visa's expiring. And they're like, yeah. Yeah, no, we know. Just give us some more time. We just need a little bit more time. Right. But my visa literally expires next week. Yeah, just go to immigration and tell them that you just need more time and they'll give you an extension. Okay, I go to immigration. They're like, why isn't your paperwork ready? And I'm like, that is a great question. I would love to answer. I don't understand what's going on either. They're like, okay, we can give you 10 days maximum. And I'm like, well, my agency asked for 2 weeks. They're like, 10 days maximum. And I said, 네, 알겠습니다. Okay. So I leave. 9 days go by. hey agency, I'm still here, you know, still waiting on that paperwork. If you have any updates on that, just let me know. Yeah, no, we still need the more time, so you can go back and get a second extension. Right. ... Okay, so I go back to the immigration. There was one more piece of documentation that I had to fix, so I come back with that. I didn't come back empty-handed. I was like, hey, I fixed the one document that I could fix. My agency needs more time though. And they're like, why? Again? You and I have the same question. So, would love to know. But yeah, they need more time. They're like, okay. So we'll give you 10 more days. By the end of 10 days, you have to have everything, period. I guess it mean that. Okay. So I think 6 days go by and my agency sends me just a little cheeky text message. We've decided that we are not going to work with foreigners anymore. Now you've decided that now. Yay. Like, huh? And to find an agency that's like willing to work with you, that also has a good contract, that's also an incredible agency. A lot of these agencies scam people and they make you pay like $1,000 to $2,000 just to get the visa, whereas this company was not having me do that. But a lot of other agencies make you pay that fee. So I'm over here going, right. So I need to find in 4 days an entire new agency, find them, talk with them willing to like work with me, also start the contract and the paperwork, which takes weeks and weeks and weeks. I'm over here going, is this real life? Is this really happening? This is really happening. So suddenly I am now in a very bit of a sticky situation. Now we're panicking a little bit, just a little. And I am literally like, I don't even, who do I even ask? And the woman who has been helping me with my paperwork with this agency for a really long time, part of the reason why all of this unfolded in this way was because she was going through a really hard time. She felt bad because she knew what was happening was really like out of her control. She can't make this other woman decide that she wants to work with foreigners. And so she was trying her best to help me. So she found an agency and she sent me the contact information of the agency. And she was like, this is maybe a lead that you could like reach out. So I looked them up and they seem like a really legit agency. I scheduled to meet with them and it's like, haha, hey, so I've got a little bit of a time crunch if you can meet really soon. So I end up having to go like an hour and a half outside of the city to meet the head of the agency in person at this cafe. And I was gonna bring my Korean friend to translate, but when I was like texting them, they were like, no need, totally fine. Show up, it's just the guy and me. He doesn't speak English. And I'm over here like, I could have brought my friend and they could have helped. What is going on? I show up and the guy's kind of like a little annoyed because he's like, it's my holiday and I have to meet you because you're under a time crunch. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Trust me, this is not going as I wanted it to go either. And I'm trying to use my broken Korean to communicate. My listening skills are so much better than my speaking skills. And so I can understand a lot of what he's saying, but I need to use Papago to translate back. So it's like I pull out my computer, he pulls out, we're using Papago and trying to talk to each other. And basically, like, long story short, I realized what his vision was for me. Like, he wants really good people who he can put on his website with pride and they can be available all the time to take any job that comes their way. And for me, it's like, no, I feel very called to ministry. I feel very called to like loving people, doing my YouTube channel, being very strategic about who I say yes to and who I don't say yes to. Like, I don't just take any brand collaborations. I only work with brands that I truly believe are worth working with because I've tested them and used them myself. So I just felt like there was like we aren't gonna be a good match for each other. And so we both agreed, you know, this doesn't seem like a really good connection. But as I'm about to leave, he's like packing up his stuff. I'm like packing up my stuff a bit. And I'm like, look, you know, I know it's gonna be okay. Even though I'm under this time crunch, I truly believe that God is going to provide because I've been praying about this and I know that God is up to something that I can't see. And he's like, wait, are you a Christian? And I was like, yeah, are you a Christian? He's like, yes. You know, so all of a sudden we kind of had this cute like connection. He's like, do you think of yourself as a missionary? And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. Like, I truly believe that I've been sent here to love people, to help people, and I do that through my YouTube channel. And up until this point, I had just said I'm a YouTuber, but he's like, wait, what is your channel about? And I was like, oh, I help foreigners. So I make videos to help them. And I start showing him my channel of like, yeah, here's a video on how to take out the trash. Here's a video on how to get the subway. He's like, you should have told me this. I thought you just were like a vlogger who just vlogged, you know, their daily life. And I'm like, no, I feel called to help people. And then he's like, is it bad to take back what I said before? Can't believe I'm going to say this, but would you work with me? Wait, what? Now you want to? What is going on? As I'm talking with him, I still feel very much like this is not the person for me because he is such a good agency. They're very well known. They have great models, like great people that I've seen on posters are in their agency. And I'm over here going, I'm not looking to make a name for myself on this side of life. Like on this side of eternity, I'm not making to look a name for myself. I want to help people. I want to be there for people. And so I still felt very uncomfortable. And in the meantime, the only other option I had in my head, I used to film with this guy named Chris. Since I had stopped working with him, he had actually opened up his own agency. And what's crazy is I hadn't seen him in literally months, years. I just so happened to text him the Wednesday before I got dropped by my old agency. And we got coffee, we were just catching up, talking about maybe filming again in the future. I said, you know, yeah, I'm getting re-signed by my old agency because at this point I hadn't been dropped yet. And as we're talking, I literally said to myself, man, I didn't know that he had started his own agency, and I didn't realize that if I worked with him, I could have gotten a really good contract with him. It was kind of like a shua, like in Korean, that's like a, man, this is like too bad, but it's okay. I have an agency. But then as soon as I got dropped, I started thinking maybe I could reach out to Chris. So I'm meeting with this guy who is this really great agency, but I'm constantly thinking about Chris and his agency, and I just feel very much like I'm supposed to reach out to Chris and talk with Chris. So I reach out to him, hey, I'm actually now in need of an agency, and he's like, say no more, I would love if you worked with me. And I'm like, okay, wait, hold on, I gotta pray about this because I don't understand what's going on. All of this is happening so fast, but I'm really gonna take a day to just like super pray and fast. And I did, and I really felt like I was supposed to sign with Chris. So I messaged Chris, and now we have literally like such limited time to get things together. But I message him, and he's like, okay, I need you to come out to this specific lawyer's office. Part of the contract process is you have to get things like notarized by certain type of lawyers. And so I have to go like way far out to Ilsan, which is like another hour and a half from my house, to get this paperwork signed by this specific lawyer in this specific region. Show up. This is one of the most beautiful parts of the story. I show up. I just get off the bus at the address that I'm supposed to get off at. And I show up, and it's the exact same stop I used to get off every single week for baseball practice. The exact stop. Not one stop too soon, not one stop too late. The exact stop. And I get off, and it's like the Pyeongjong, the convenience store I used to go to, and the coffee shop that I used to go to before and after practice. And I'm just sitting there. I go into the Pyeongjong, I get my little kimbap that I used to eat every time before baseball, and I'm just sitting there on the bench like, I can't believe this is such a full circle moment. And I felt overwhelmed by the Lord just saying, Megan, I have had all of this in the works the whole time. When you were coming to baseball practice, you didn't know anything about today. You didn't know anything about the stresses of today. But I have set all of this up. I've woven all of this for you to trust me more, for you to see just how good I am, for me to be able to provide for you in a way that you can make another episode and show people just how good I am. And I'm sitting there on the bench going, oh my gosh, I don't know what you're doing. This is stressful, it's scary, but I so fully trust you. And so I go to meet Chris for coffee, and I'm telling Chris about how incredible this is, that this is the exact same bus stop I used to go to for baseball. And I'm telling him about, God was just like telling me that he's really got this. Like, I was supposed to sign with you, me coming and meeting you here, all of this is just, this is incredible. Like, you know, I wasn't going to sign with you, but here we are. And look how everything worked out. I just so happened to get coffee with you, and now I'm here and we're going to sign. Like, you know, I'm just like freaking out. We go into this lawyer office. I'm just like sitting down. I'm just beaming with joy. Like, God is so good. And the lady starts speaking in this formal Korean rapidly. If you know anything about Korean, there's like levels of formality. The highest level is really hard for me to understand. And she's just, and I'm over here like, wait, what's happening? Like, you know, like Joy's coming down. Joy's coming down. What's going on? I don't understand. She doesn't seem happy. And to summarize, she is telling, I will not work with you guys because she does not speak Korean. She being me. It took me a while to understand what she was saying. And I'm like, wait. Like, I do speak a little Korean, like in Korean. Can you just please speak slower? And she's kind of giving me this like look. And I'm like, no, really, like I do. It's just that the formality is very hard for me to understand and you're speaking really fast. And she's very hesitant. Like, she's like, other people come from other countries and they speak Korean fluently and da-da-da-da. And I'm just over here going, Lord, I don't know. This isn't part of the plan. This isn't part of the plan. So I just start praying. I'm just like, Lord, please help, please help, please help. Give me the words to say. Help me to be able to understand. Like, I'm just praying like a little prayer warrior. Eventually, we get to this place where I'm able to express myself enough. I'm like opening up about my past. This lady probably didn't want to know my life story, but I was giving her my life story, telling her about how I'm self-conscious to speak Korean. I'm an American person. Like, usually we don't learn other languages, so it's really hard for us. Like, I think I softened her up enough because I also just loved her back. She was mean, but I tried to just be loving and kind and caring back. And eventually, reluctantly, she's like, fine. And she starts talking to me like I'm a kindergartner. Stuff like, you sign here, you know, in Korean. And I'm like, 네, 알겠습니다. You know, like, it's just like so much. This meeting is chaotic. It's crazy. But in the end, we finish. And I sign the paperwork. The lawyer comes out. He signs it. It's done. We go out into the hallway and we're waiting on the elevator. And Chris is like, I cannot believe that just worked. And I was like, I was praying the whole time. I was praying. I told you God was going to do it. I told you God was going to make a way. And he's just like laughing, but he's smiling. He's like, okay. So I now have to wait on like there's like this recommendation document that you have to wait on, but that can take weeks. Your girl don't have weeks, right? So I go to the immigration office that I've been going to with my now new contract to update them. Hey, my agency from the past dropped me and I did find a new agency and we did start the contract process. Here's the notarization part. I'm still waiting on other parts. So I have the documents that I now have with my new agency and the notarization to show that I'm trying, like I'm really trying. And I like run to the immigration place and I sit down in front of this lady again and I'm like, haha, so my old agency dropped me and I have a new agency and I'm trying to do the paperwork. Yeah, I'm sorry. Because I've already been going to her twice now, giving me extensions. This would be a third extension. That's like unheard of. I mean, I prayed the whole way that she would even just work with me, that she would even talk with me. And I like slide her my papers and she looks at my papers and she's just like, we have a problem. Of course we have a problem because everything seems to be a problem. She's like, I can't believe they did that. But the bigger problem is that when you sign with an agency, that agency is associated with a certain district, and those districts are the immigration offices that you have to go to. Your old agency is associated with this immigration, but your new agency is associated with a different immigration office. Oh, what does that mean? Technically, what I'm supposed to do right now is cancel your extension and you will become an illegal immigrant in Korea. Can we do something else? You know, is there another option? Obviously, I don't want to do that to you because this isn't your fault. You've been waiting. I'm going to go in the back and let me talk to my manager and see what we can do. Yes, please, 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 please. So she comes back and she's like, look, there's one more piece of paper that you're waiting on. And it's this letter of recommendation, which can take weeks. I need it by the end of the week. So I text my agency, can we get that document by the end of the week? And he's like, absolutely not. Okay. They can't do that. Why can't they? You know, again, lots of things I would love to know the answer to. But he said he can't do it. 10 days. All I can give you is 10 days. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We have 10 days. And they're like, wait, they're actually giving you a third extension? And I'm like, I think that's what's happening. I don't really know. And so she gives me the extension for 10 days. Come back to this immigration office with that final piece of paper. I will take all of the paperwork and I will then mail it to the correct immigration office from here so that they know that you're not just being lazy. Like, this has been a whole process. I'll write a letter and explain everything and I'll send it. So day 9 of those 10 days, I get the paperwork miraculously. Truly, it's supposed to take weeks. Miraculously, it's done on day 9. He sends it to me. I book it there. I think I show up at like 3:30. The printer's not working. I can't figure out how to print out this document. By the time I get to the lady, it's like 4:15. And I'm like, I got the paper. I got the paper. And I slide it. And she looks at me and she's like, wait, why are you here though? You're supposed to go to the other immigration office. But the plan was that we were gonna, you said, You said that I was gonna put I could give you the paper. You were gonna put them together and then you were gonna mail them. And she's like, I already mailed them. Right. Because what could go right in this circumstance? And by the way, her mailing them, I have to pray that they will have mercy at this new immigration office and still work with me, because they could just say no. And then I'm illegal, pay hundreds of dollars because I overstayed my visa. So I book it in a taxi, show up at this new immigration office, I think 20 minutes before they close. I walk in, I'm sweating. My paperwork has been sent here. I just have to turn in this last piece of paper. I know it's close to close, but like, I just need to give this piece of paperwork and I'm done. The guy is so confused. What do you mean you don't have an appointment? Why are you here? It's an immigration office that's outside of Seoul, so there's even less English that's spoken. And I show up, I'm trying to just talk to someone, and I see that all the workers are like in the back, like laughing and like hanging out. Like they don't close for 15 more minutes, but they're clearly like, we're done for the day. So I hear him go back and try to talk, and they're like, she has to come back tomorrow. I am an hour and a half from my house at this point. Please just tell them, like, I literally just need to give them this one piece of paper. He goes back. They're literally like, she can come back tomorrow. We don't care. And honestly, because of how many things have been happening up until this point, I think rightfully so, I just broke down in the bathroom. Like, I just said, okay, but I broke down and I just was sobbing in the bathroom. And I was like, I have spent so much money on transportation. It takes me usually an hour to an hour and a half to get to all these appointments. And there's even appointments that I'm leaving out. It was weeks of running around like crazy, hoping that I can just stay in this country. And to come to this point of like, I've traveled so far, all you need to do is take this piece of paper. I just lost it. I was so tired. I was so worn out. I couldn't believe how much money I wasted and time just to get all the way there. And the next day, I get back on the bus. I show up. They don't understand who I am. They don't understand, because this isn't a common situation where like stuff is getting mailed places. The other immigration people, really nice. These people, not as kind. Lots of yelling and like speaking at me like, you understand? You're speaking English. I speak English. You're speaking it to me like I don't speak English. You understand? And I'm just like, yes, I understand English. You know, like it was not good. But eventually they understand who I am. My paperwork got mailed in. They see my documents. They take my paperwork. They're looking it over. And the guy, again, in that aggressive English, it will take probably 2 weeks, but we don't know what the result will be. Mind you, my cousin is getting married. And so there was like some festivities that they wanted me to be a part of. I had already bought a ticket to go back. I had to already extend and move I had to move my trip back to America. There was so much about like, I have to leave on the new flight date. Like I really can't keep extending it. But they accepted my paperwork. I go home. I'm telling, my church, this whole process, by the way, I told my small group at church. I tell some of my friends in different countries. I reached out in some group chats. I even, mentioned a bit on Instagram and just said, hey, can y'all pray for me? Because truly, if this gets denied, I don't know what I'm going to do. And there was just so much of this where my new agency is saying, we truly don't know how this is gonna work. Like, we truly don't know if you're gonna get this visa. And it felt like I had come to this place of, Lord, you know that I won't leave Korea unless you make it abundantly clear that I'm supposed to, because I feel so called and I feel like I'm supposed to be here. I feel like I'm supposed to love these people. I'm supposed to make these videos. And there's a whole portion of this video I haven't gotten to about the ministry areas that have been flourishing as a result of my YouTube channel. I felt like this is where I'm supposed to be. I don't feel like my time is up. And I thought back to that moment on the bench outside of, the station where I used to go for baseball. And God just saying, I've got this. Truly, I have got this. So I've turned everything in on a Friday. They don't work on Saturday and Sundays. On Monday, I'm getting this call from the immigration office. I tell my new agency, they're trying to call me. I don't know what's going on. And I send him this text message because I had gotten all these text messages. And he calls me and he's like, Megan, you got approved. Wait, it's only been 1 business day. I know, you got approved. And I'm like, are you serious? One business day. God said, watch this. He said, watch this. And the contract that I have now signed is much better than my old contract as far as what percentage I get. It's with a company that truly, genuinely cares for me. I mean, The old company, it's not that they didn't care for me, but Chris is someone I've known for a long time. He went out of his way to make sure that all of this documentation could get done as quick as possible. Like, he went to the ends of the earth to help me in this. And throughout this whole process of me praying, telling him how many people are praying for me, telling truly like so many people to pray for me, so they were doing this and praying with me, the result of being truly a miracle that it happened, that I didn't get kicked out, that I was offered so many extensions, that even in the midst of my paper getting moved from one place to the next, one business day. Part of the reason why I truly believe that all of this worked out as miraculously as it did is because of what God has been doing in my life in the past year. I haven't really talked about it online. A lot of people, they just think that I make YouTube videos and that's all I do. But I actually have a lot of areas of ministry. I lead an online prayer chapel. I have an online scripture memory group. I'm actually starting a book club online. It's a Christian book for singles and married people, but a singles focused book called Not Yet Married, and we're going to start reading that together. My favorite of all things, there's actually a small group of women, and we're called More Than Conquerors, and it's a group here in Seoul, and it's for women who have been sexually assaulted or molested, and I help them through the healing process because I've healed so much. My last episode of my Korea story, there's been so much healing in that video, and since that video, this group had already been started, but they only met once and they didn't have anybody to lead them because they actually didn't know how to heal. And I just so happened to start going to this new church and I make the right connections. And it's like the Lord had already set up that group for me to come in and then just bring my knowledge. And so like that group just means the absolute world to me. There's so much that ministry-wise has been flourishing. I mean, the way that I'm able to meet with people and meet with subscribers. Maybe I don't consistently post on YouTube, but I'm consistently meeting and just being the hands and feet for God to use here in Korea. I just knew that God was not done, but I just didn't know how he was going to make the way. But what God has been teaching me through this episode, through this mad chaos of unfoldings, is that I only got to this end result because people joined in with me, because people were praying for me. During this month of chaos, my finances got so bad. People were stepping up in so many ways to help me because I truly didn't have time to make an edit like I wanted to. There has been so much that if I keep trying to do this by myself, I won't be able to. I will crumble. Prayerfully, most importantly, but financially as well. Prayerfully, the only way I got through all of this chaos was people kept praying for me along the way. And I know that the reason that this miracle happened was because people were praying for me. And then on top of that, throughout that season of, I don't know what's going on, I don't know if my time in Korea is coming to a close, not being able to edit, I literally was eating almost nothing. Like I was eating the bare minimum, just trying to eat the cheapest things that I could find. And one of my sweet dear friends, went out of her way to buy me $200 worth of groceries. And it was hard for me to accept because I'm always someone that just wants to be able to do it by themselves. But to come to the point where I had to have help and I had to receive the help and accept it, or I truly wasn't eating well. I ate with such gratitude and such thanksgiving. And I feel like God has been teaching me in the past few months, Megan, the calling I have on your life is not something that you can do on your own. You have to partner with people. You can no longer do this by yourself. It's really hard for me to make the end portion of this video because, again, I'm such a girl who just wants to be able to do everything by herself. But I realized that it has the potential to be more powerful and more beautiful and more God glorifying, to look at you guys through the camera, but to look you in the face and say, I would love to partner with you. I would love to do this with other people in prayer. And if you can, finances, to be able to send you guys truly monthly letters to explain ministry-wise what's going on, how you can be praying for me. Maybe even having an email list that if you just want to get updates and there's an emergency prayer that I really need prayer over something, I can email that emergency prayer list and say, hey, this is where I need help if you guys, and just send a quick, update, things like this. I would love to be able to partner with you and share stories of truly these beautiful occurrences of meeting these women and being able to have these conversations with them that truly change their life, because I have gone through so much. I'm able to share with them the wisdom that I have received through going through these trials. And I would love to be able to host more meetups and to be able to meet more of you and to share my life story with more of you guys in person, and to be able to hang out and do things in person here in Seoul. But it's just hard because I'm constantly having to try to take these like little side jobs that take hours and hours of my time. The pay is just okay. I have filmed so many videos, I just can't afford an editor. If I'm able to raise enough money, I could hire an editor, and that way I could consistently get videos up to you guys once a week, because at this point I have 70 videos filmed. I just don't have time to edit, because if it comes down to finish editing this YouTube video about how to live in Korea versus being able to be there for someone and love them and care for them, I always choose this, path. But that's the path of a missionary, and I don't have the backing that a missionary needs in order to continue to choose this path. So that is what this video is. Kind of the ending of it is just a request. I'm going to leave links down below that kind of describe more about these areas of ministry. I'm going to leave a letter down below that explains all that I'm doing behind the scenes. If you want to join in, you can join in on a lot of these ministry opportunities too. I'm going to talk about how you can partner with me down below, whether it be on Coffee, my coffee page, or maybe I'll start a Patreon page. All of that will be linked down below. I'm going to leave an email list as well if you want to join in on that update email list as well. There's a lot that I know that God has been putting on my heart to do, but I've been too embarrassed to ask for help. If you would consider partnering with me, it would mean the absolute world to me, and I would love to tell you more about these ministry opportunities face to face. Even I'm gonna set up some time slots on my calendar if you would like to have a Zoom call just to hear about what ministry looks like. If you're interested in partnering with me financially, I would love to be able to sit down with you for 30 minutes and just be open. You can ask me whatever you would like. Oh, it's crazy, but I so look forward to being able to do this with you guys rather than just by myself. And it's scary to say that. It's scary to be so vulnerable and say, hey, I can't do this alone anymore. But it's also really exciting, because the idea of being able to partner with you guys and share more frequent updates and pray together, I'm scared, but I'm excited. And so thank you so much for listening to this incredibly long video, but links of all the important things are down below. Feel free to email me or leave any questions in the comments down below as well. I love you guys so much, and I'm really excited to see what's next for us. Until next time, bye.